The purpose of this video is to discuss Coptic nouns and also Coptic articles, both Coptic definite articles and the Coptic indefinite articles. So just to begin with, in terms of Coptic articles, there are 6 singular definite articles in Coptic. Definite articles are words which translate to the word the in English. There are 3 of these are definite articles, are masculine. Singular definite articles are masculine, and the other 3 are feminine. So the masculine articles are be, ab, and then also again, this one is also pronounced ab. Although some people, of course, pronounce it as af, as opposed to ab. But I'll be pronouncing these latter two as the same as ab and ab. So those are the 3 masculine articles. Then we have the 3 feminine articles, which are d, ad, at. So there are grammatical rules governing the use of these singular definite articles. The first rule is that each masculine and feminine article, and remember these are the singular definite articles, each masculine and feminine article has an equivalent or a matching article in the other gender. Thus, B and D are one matching pair, B being masculine and D being feminine. Then we have ab and ad as the second matching pair, ab being masculine and ad being feminine. Finally, we have ab and at are the third matching pair of articles, with ab or af, depending how you would pronounce it. It's just personal choice again. So ab being masculine and at being feminine. And of course, these 2 are the third matching pair of articles. We now move on to the second rule. The second rule is that both masculine and feminine singular definite articles can be divided into 4 groups, 2 masculine groups and 2 feminine groups. So, be on its own makes up one masculine group, while ab and ab constitute another masculine group. Then d on its own makes up one feminine group, whilst ad and at constitute another feminine group. The third rule governing the use of these singular definite articles in Coptic is the following. So the third rule concerns what are called the vil minor letters. These vil minor letters are basically Greek letters whose pronunciation has been better adapted to represent the sound of the Coptic or Egyptian language. This is the best description I could find, and the rules for these vil minor letters will be described on the next page. So, which letters in Coptic constitute the vil minor letters? The vil minor letters in Coptic are ⲿ, 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 ⲿ. I'll repeat those. So, the vil minor letters in Coptic are ⲿ, 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 ⲿ. The second group of masculine articles, ab and ab, are closely related and share a similar grammatical function. Likewise, the second group of feminine articles, ad and at, are also closely related and share a similar grammatical function also. Therefore, in what exact sense do the aforementioned articles differ? They differ in that the vil minor letters, which once again are ⲿ, 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 always use the masculine definite article ab or af and the feminine definite article at. Non-vil minor letters, which i.e. any other Coptic letters that are not the letters I've just listed above, always use the masculine article ab and the feminine article ad. So we now move on to the fourth rule governing the use of these singular definite articles in Coptic. This fourth rule concerns the strong definite articles and the weak definite articles. The strong articles are be, which is masculine, and d, which is feminine, whilst the weak articles are ab and ab, which are both masculine, and ad and at, which are both feminine. So, in what way do the strong and weak singular definite articles actually differ? They differ in the following sense. The strong articles are more specific than the weak articles. For example, if one is referring to a specific father, one says biot, biot, and that was as simply the definite article there being pronounced as b, and then the word for father being pronounced as yot, giving b, yot, biot, biot, biot. So, if one's referring to a specific father, one says biot, as one is pointing out a particular father. It could be your own father or a friend's father. The point is that it is specific, as not everyone in Egypt would have known who was whose father, etc. Conversely, or oppositely, if one was to say abiot, abiot, one is referring to a father who is well known or to a father who is considered to be one of a kind or unique. Thus, Copts use abiot, abiot to refer to God the Father, and abshari, abshari to refer to God the Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Remember that despite the nuances in meaning denoted by the Coptic articles, they will always, Coptic definite articles that is, and singular ones in this particular case, they will all be translated into English as the, as modern English only has one definite article. Historically, of course, Old English had three genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter, just like Latin, but this is not the case anymore. English is effectively a genderless language in grammatical terms, so um, the definite article, singular definite article in Coptic will always be translated into English as the. Note well also that there are three singular masculine definite articles in Coptic: be, the strong article; ab, the weak non-vil minor article; and ab or af, the weak vil minor article. Note well also that there are three singular feminine definite articles in Coptic: d, the strong article; and ab or ad, the weak non-vil minor article; and at, the weak vil minor article. Remember that all these articles are singular and are governed by gender, whether masculine or feminine. Coptic does, however, have a plural definite article, as we shall see on the next page. So there are two plural definite articles in Coptic. Once again, words meaning the. These articles are genderless, however, unlike the singular definite articles, i.e., they are not governed by the need to be applied to a masculine word or a feminine word only. They are used for both genders in Coptic. So, ni is the primary plural definite article in Coptic. Nan is the other plural definite article in Coptic. It is only used when needing to convey a sentence construction comparative to the English word of, a sort of genitive construction. Otherwise, you just use ni as opposed to nan. Thus, if one were to say nijij, nijij, this would simply be translated as the hands. If one, however, were to say nanjij ana aron, nanjij an aron, nanjij ana aron, then one would be saying the hands of Aaron, Moses' brother, of course. Interestingly, most Coptic nouns do not undergo morphological change in the plural. That is, the form of the noun in the singular or the plural stays the same usually. It is the article that tells one whether the noun is either singular or plural. Consequently, the Coptic word jij means both hand and hands. We must select the right definite articles to make it either singular or plural. We know that jij is a feminine noun, thus to say the hand, in this case the strong article for a specific hand, one says dijij, dijij, and to say the hands one says nijij, nijij, nijij. So we now move on to the exceptions. As in any language, there are, of course, exceptions. Some Coptic nouns do have different singular and plural forms. And here are a few examples. So we have adba, which means the heaven, and that's the singular. And then the plural is nibawi, the heavens. Then we have bialu, the child. And we have, that's the singular, of course. And then we have in the plural, Nialui, Nialui, meaning the children. Then we have Bison, bison, meaning the brother, that's the singular. And then we have nias now, ni as now, nias now, nias now, meaning the brothers. Then we have some further examples. We have disoni, 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 meaning the sister, disoni, which is the singular. And then we have nisoni, nisoni, meaning the sisters. So disoni, meaning the sister, and nisoni, nisoni, meaning the sisters. Then we have abiot, abiot, meaning the father, or of course in this case a well-known father such as God the Father. So we have abiot, abiot in the singular, and niadi, 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 the fathers or the parents in the plural, niadi. Then we have the ashimi, the ashimi, the ashimi, the woman, which is the singular. And then we have nihyomi, 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 the women. So in the singular we have the ashimi, and in the plural we have nihyomi. Then just one last page of exceptions. So we have hub, hub, meaning thing or work, hub. And then that's the singular. And then in the plural we have awawi, 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 which means things or works, and that's the plural. So we have hub and awawi. One final example here then we have is abwuk, 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 meaning the slave or the servant, and that's the singular. And then we have ni a wi ike, niawi ike, niawi ike, meaning the slaves or the servants, and that's the plural. So these are just some common exceptions to the aforementioned rule. So we now move on to discuss the Coptic equivalent of the vocative, which so, just like modern English, Coptic did not make use of a case system as one finds in Latin or Greek. That is, there were no noun declensions. In Coptic, the vocative form of address is expressed in two ways. First, it can be expressed through the use of the definite article. So, for example, ab choice, ab choice, ab choice, ab choice. Ab choice can mean either the Lord or O Lord in English. Context will always show which translation is appropriate. Secondly, one can use the Coptic letter O, the long O or omega, the Coptic letter O or omega as the vocative form. For example, O Maria, O Maria, O Maria can be translated into English as O Mary, as Mary, the mother of Jesus. So the O translation here is easy to remember, as it's the same as in both English and Coptic. That is, in English, we also use as our vocative form the letter O before a name, and in Coptic, you can also do this, and it happens to translate the same way. Whilst it may sound stilted or old fashioned, one will see such a vocative form, as I say, in older English literature and the King James Bible. So, back to just Coptic articles, this time the indefinite articles. Coptic has two indefinite articles in addition to the definite articles it possesses. Luckily, these are genderless and there's only one singular and one plural form of the Coptic indefinite article. The singular indefinite article is oo. Oo sounds like the English word, the double O in the English word foot, oo, oo. This is attached to the word, unlike in English, where it is separate. It always translates into English as a or an. So, some examples for this Coptic indefinite article, the singular Coptic indefinite article, are uromi, 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 which means a man. And we also have another example here, uashimi, 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 which means a woman. The Coptic plural indefinite article is chan, chan, and this is likewise attached to the word as opposed to being separate. Whilst the word ▭ has no direct English equivalent, it is best translated as some. And remember, ▭ is the plural indefinite article. So here are a few examples. Chanrumi, 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 meaning either some men or just men. Chanhyomi, 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 meaning either some women or just women. Then we have this word, which is composed of two words, chan and one. Chanwon, 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 meaning some, or meaning some also. It just means some. So now just finally for some vocabulary and practice. So As regards vocabulary, we have 4 words here. We have yot, 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 meaning father, and that's a masculine noun. Then we have mau, mau, meaning mother, which is a feminine noun, mau, mau. Then we have shari, 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 meaning son, which is a masculine noun. And then we have shari, shari, which is just a shorter version, as you can see, and it means daughter, and it's a feminine noun. So we have shari, meaning son, which is masculine, and shari, meaning daughter, which is feminine. Now, just on to some practice, which of course I'll provide the answer. I've provided the answers here for the practice, which is more practical. We have abyut, abyut, which means God the Father, or the Father, as in a specific father. Then we have in number 2 here, we have umau, 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 meaning a mother. Then for number 3, we have abshari, abshari, meaning the son. Then we have for number 4, dishari, 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 meaning the daughter. Then in number 5, we have hanyodi, hanyodi, meaning fathers, or some fathers, or parents, or some parents. Hanyodi, hanyodi. Then in number 6, finally, we have hanas now, han as now, hanas now, hanas now, meaning brothers, or some brothers. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and it simply remains for me to say ujai khan ab choice. Ujai khan ab choice. Ujai khan ab choice. Ujai khan ab choice. Ujai khan ab choice, which is a Coptic way of saying goodbye. Its literal meaning is health in the Lord, or well-being in the Lord.